thank you all for coming. I'm going to sit down and sign this in a moment, but we'll make some comments, sign the legislation into law, and then take some questions on this or the other issue we got. It is an honor to be here today to sign into law a piece of legislation that had bipartisan support. And I particularly want to thank Representative John Nygren and Representative Frank Massey as the lead authors of this legislation. Legislation that I got to tell you I have a personal interest in because I've got two sons, Matt and Alex. One who's a full driver and the other one's who's got his temporary license. And I know just adding more drivers to your family adds to your bill. I'd like to have a piece of legislation like this that for all of us, not just who are parents, but for all of us who appreciated prior to this change a couple of years ago, having some of the lowest car insurance premiums in the country. We'd like to go back down that path again instead of where we were headed after this legislation passed. Obviously, this was a grave concern to many, something that many of us were asked about, talked about in the campaign trail, and for us to put more power back in the hands of consumers. Certainly having some of the lowest premiums in the country also made it more affordable for people to have access to car insurance, and that was a positive thing as well. And this is one more step of empowering consumers across the state of Wisconsin. In addition to thanking our lead sponsors, I want to thank the committee chairs as well, which in the case of the Senate, I'll repeat myself, thanking the chair as well as the author, Senator Massey, and in the Assembly, Kevin Peterson, State Representative, who's the chair of the committee, went through, as well as all the members are here, joining with me as well as Lieutenant Governor Rebecca Kleefisch. Again, a broad bipartisan coalition. The vote passed 25-7 in the state Senate. That's a bipartisan vote. And 61-34 in the state assembly. Again, Republicans, Democrats, and one independent, Representative Ziegelbauer, joining together to move this forward. I want to thank some of the key stakeholders that were part of supporting this measure. Certainly the Independent Insurance Agents of Wisconsin, Wisconsin Insurance Alliance, Professional Insurance Agents of Wisconsin, and others who are with us here today, as well as Century Insurance, American Family Insurance, the Wisconsin Mutual Insurance Company, the Wisconsin Car Rental Association, the National Federation of Independent Businesses, and the Wisconsin Counties Association, all of whom either testified or registered in favor of this measure. Again, this is an important piece of legislation. It's a bipartisan piece of legislation that's ultimately about not only making it more affordable to have car insurance in this state, but ultimately, I think it's one more example of sending a message not just to consumers, but to employers in the state that this is a good state to do business in, that it's one where we try to keep costs reasonable and yet protect the public at the same time, which is exactly what this will do. It's a good balance for this, and I think other pieces of legislation to come before us in the future. So with that, I'll sign Act 14 in, and then we'll come back up for some questions.